had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the sunrise.
Gotta change.
We're doing something wrong.
Yeah. I think the biggest reason I wanted to change things up a little is I just felt like I was being lazy with it.
Right. Yeah.
Like
the craft of.
Yeah, it just wasn't like like every writer needs an editor kind of thing.
Yep.
Like I just felt like I was, oh, let's just sit down and shoot the shit. And then I was like, man, I kind of feel like we're just talking about the same thing. Because you and I can talk about it again, and we mentioned this in the last one, but it's like we can talk about the same thing 10 times. And when we're right here and we have all the context of like, oh yeah, we chatted on the phone for 10 minutes here, and we've sent each other these things, or
went to a movie a couple weeks ago.
We have this context from 7 years ago that informs this, or from 3 years ago that informs this. That was off air.
Yeah,
there's like a shorthand, and it's like we can literally talk about the exact same thing and still glean some kind of nugget from each other from it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Let's revisit that. And I just don't know if that translates as well when we're here for an hour.
Yep.
Out of context. Where I think, it might just feel like, man, we're just talking about the same thing over and over. So, yeah, that was the biggest reason. But yeah, just kind of like I think what did we title the episode? Was
deferring
the work you're deferring.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like there was some life stuff that matched up with the episode topic. So
definitely.
But now we're here and we don't have a topic. We just talked for about an hour. And
and I would say that that conversation obviously has sort of like, it's drawing upon things that were happening, from a video that we watched or, whatever, but there's lots of connection points to the stuff that we've talked about in many of our previous conversations. And I think there is part of me that would be excited to kind of chart new territory a little bit.
Is there anything in particular?
I wish I know. I know. I thought about it on the drive over. But I don't think it's anything to sort of sustain a conversation. I think it would like start one and then it would, move into other things. But again, like when I was reading more and sort of consuming in different ways, different work, I mean, there was like stuff where I'm like, this is a whole conversation, like this idea. And I definitely haven't had that. And certainly drawing on a card or, that book that you had that we would open and point to something and just like do it, like those are fun prompts to start a conversation. But yeah, I wish I had something that I read or watched and we could really talk about this, a specific idea.
Yeah. How did it feel being back on set today? It's been a little bit, yeah. Set.
And you mean like at TSO?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. This year it was, there was excitement because you really use the money. And I really enjoyed the work last year. A lot of what I made, prompted AI to make, didn't end up in the show, but because I started out last year with the very sort of negative attitude, like this, like going back to making content was sort of like a symptom of moving toward failure as someone trying to, make work on YouTube. But this year I was really excited, and it's a lot of stupid reasons. It's, being in a room with a couple guys that, you enjoy their energy, and especially Nick, my close friend who brings me on, it's always great to just be with him, not only because he's so true and real and open and vulnerable and all that stuff when you can have private conversations, but I've been doing this long enough, even though there were several years where I didn't work with him on anything, that it's like going to see, I'm going to see Back to the Future on Sunday in IMAX with the family. It's like that. There's nostalgia. It's like, man, I remember back in 2008, we were in a windowless room in Burbank chopping up So You Think You Can Dance, content. And, you get back in that room and you're like, it just all comes back.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. The other thing too is there's just always something for me that is cool to be part of a big fucking thing. Big because of money, big because of the fandom Trans-Siberian Orchestra has, and you get to play a role in this little slice of the greater show business universe.
Yeah.
That people like plan to come to it every single year.
Yeah.
It is non-negotiable, and you get to be there behind the scenes and like walking around the venue today and all the crew that was there and the production team, the managers, tour manager, all that stuff. And then you're there with the designer, like the entire designer of the show. It's just like, I don't know, there's something cool about you being welcome to be there.
You're part of it.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen without you,
right?
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. And even if I have a very minor contribution, ultimately what you see in the show, it's still fun to sort of contribute to, a creative energy that like if Nick's struggling, like, oh, what do we do here? Like, oh, what if you did this, or what if we did that?
Do you think there's something to be said for like? So I mean, we've talked about this before, and like collaboration is one of my favorite parts of the process. Like I love getting general ideas and then putting that out into a room and seeing what happens to it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I have like controlling tendencies and things that like, oh, I like to do it this way or this way.
Yeah.
But I do love the collaboration aspect. And that's what's cool to me about bigger things like that is you have all of these pieces and everybody's doing like their thing, hopefully to the best of their abilities. And if you have a good, producer, showrunner, director, whatever, hopefully they're empowering the people that are working to, want to give all of their energy. And then, you just have this like massive force that's always going to be bigger than the individual.
Yep.
And I feel like we've moved away from that a little bit as a society, especially in creating things. We were watching, we both watched that interview, and he's talking about like, I just can't work with people. Like I can't work with anybody else. I, don't like collaborating. And while I get that, that's like that's one person who I feel like did have a lot of influence and influenced a lot of people to think that same way.
Yeah.
So being back in the collaboration, I like that you felt like, wow, it's cool to be a part of this. Well, and do you think I think, what do you think of the state of collaboration kind of became not cool?
Yeah. With
the influencer and like I run my own business and like, I don't want to be a cog in a machine. And like, we kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater in some sense, because I think what we can achieve together, this sounds so, but what you can achieve as a group of people is so much more than what you can achieve as an individual. Yeah. No matter what. And I mean, I work with teams like on a daily basis, and it's like you come up with something that you're like, I would have never come up with that by myself, especially in the creative process. So like, what do you think about the state of that? And then was it a good reminder? Or
well, I think there's some nuance here to outline. And I think I want the person that we're talking about, while he may make his videos for the most part by himself, but get some feedback or whatever, when he's in that sort of, I have a vision and I'm going to execute that vision, it's relatively collaboration free, right? but he's getting collaboration in other forms. He's consulting brands. He's doing, maybe he's helping other creators with their stuff. But he's not in the lead. He's not the vision holder, but he's helping serve someone else's vision who wants that input and that help, and not just because of who he is, but because of his gifts as a collaborator.
He's proven that he can do the collaboration thing, and it's like not for him. Like so that's one thing where I'm not dogging him.
No, 100%.
I just think that you have a lot of people that probably looked at that.
Yeah.
And took the influence from that, and their only takeaway was, oh, it's cool to just do it by yourself.
Yeah. And
they never got to experience the other side and see like, oh, wow, this is actually really cool. Like, there's a lot of fertile ground here to explore.
And today for me, so this person, I know he probably collaborates with his brother in a sense, even if it's just jamming about ideas or what you could do or, whatever. So I think he has a lot of collaboration in his life in different ways. And like today for me was this very interesting dichotomy of creation. I wasn't at TSO today making anything, but you're laying the groundwork and you're chopping it up about what to do for this song or that song, whatever. This morning I'm shooting B-roll for the intro to a video on one of my channels. And I'm like, I wouldn't want anybody here while I do this. I don't want somebody over my shoulder. I don't need them moving stuff for me. Like, this is like, I want to be alone with my vision and my idea, and I don't want anybody to make me second guess myself or make me self-conscious about my choice and the framing and this. There's something that about that specific act of creation that I'm like, the only way for me to do this the way I want to is to just be here by myself.
Yeah.
But then again, today I'm in a room with 4 guys and we're setting the stage for what is going to be made, when I'm going to come in, what's my role going to be, me getting on the same page with Nick about what I can and can't do schedule-wise, but then also what I want to contribute creatively. And, Brian, the designer, in some instances, be like, I'm not sure what to do here, but, if you guys have any ideas when you're sitting here, like, just put something together, And last year was the same thing, I'm like, oh, this would be cool to do this.
Yeah.
Throw it all together as sort of like a proof of concept thing. He takes a look at, oh, that's interesting. Let's put it up on the screen in the so you're like you're in the arena looking at your stuff up there. And then, some of it, the tour management goes, oh, well, we can't, it's cool, but we can't do that because of this. There's some political thing or whatever, and you just didn't catch it. So I'm definitely looking forward to having an experience in both ways. But then at the same time, there's times in that room where I can kind of see maybe Nick's looking over his shoulder to see what I'm doing, and I can tell that whether it's how I'm technically executing it or creatively executing it, he wants to whatever, and I'm like, I just want to be left alone until I think it's done. You can tell me it's no good or we can't do it, whatever.
Yeah.
But don't get in there when I'm in this sort of like
interrupt the process.
Yeah, because there's like a I have to see this through. Mm-hmm. I can sense maybe it's not going to work or you're not going to like it, but I can't just abort that creative process. I have to see it to the end and like come to the conclusion myself, or not myself, but with you. Yeah. That this isn't going to work. Yeah. But then also just like how I group my clips or this or that, like I get like, somebody might know better how to do that. I don't want to get in the weeds there, but it's sort of like, I don't know. There's some kind of vulnerability there. I don't know what it is, where I kind of just need to be left alone to do my thing.
When you're executing like particular tasks.
Right.
What do you think about like this broader state of that? Yeah. No, I mean that's exactly kind of two parts.
I don't know. I
haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about it, but it does feel like, we have been, I mean, you talked about YouTube, like think of how many people do YouTube or social media related content. And, you said it, that is the type of platform that kind of drives you towards isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, that you didn't say that, but you said like, I kind of want to be alone with myself to do this.
Yeah.
And I think there's, you have a lot of people that are making stuff for those platforms, and they're probably just following that intuition of like, I think I want to be alone to do this.
Mm-hmm. But
then I think you start to lose this respect for, there's also like, and maybe it's not for, like, I don't think you see a lot of people trying to make a movie by themselves or do, some of these things. But I do think it's just not sexy right now. Like the collaborative process, working with people.
It's hard because the stuff that I'm consuming, like coming in here, I, just listen to, an episode of Smartless and Armchair Expert, and it's all these actors talking about collaborating with scene partners. I listened to Oscar Isaac's episode where he talks about working with Guillermo del Toro and all the different things he said. And, he watched a cut of the final scene and felt he could do it differently. Guillermo told him no. And then then the next day he's setting up for him to do it again, for Oscar Isaac to do it again. So like that gets me charged up about like lots of collaboration is happening out there. I think about like Grainy Days YouTube channel, and while he doesn't have people helping him shoot and editing his videos, every video he makes, he's got other photographers with him, and they're making their thing, but together. And there is a collaboration in that. Yeah. There's an exchange of energy. There is inspiration that their work brings, So collaboration isn't always a bunch of people making the same thing. Sometimes it's a bunch of people making their own things together.
Yeah.
But then, yes, there are situations where people are. I mean, even Casey, when he talks about working alone, he still has a guy that watches his stuff and gives him feedback. So there's still collaboration there, even though the majority of his work, he's saying, I want to do it by myself.
Yeah.
But again, the collaboration comes in sort of like vision, execution. I can't think of anything else to do with this thing, but I need someone to watch it to just double check if there's something that doesn't ring true or a false beat or whatever. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with the TSO thing. Like, just let me make it. Let me do my version.
And then look at it.
And then I'm ready to move it over and get collaboration at that stage.
Yeah.
Versus you over my shoulder.
Yeah. And I don't think over the shoulder is
and I don't mean that.
I don't think that's collaboration. I think that's more.
Well, I think the way I just said it, it sounds like micromanagement, or sort of like just telling me what to do as a button pusher. But I do think there is sort of like, I don't know, what do you think of it? Like there is like a sort of like making the thing together in a good way. But, and I'm sure that's happened with me, or could happen even on the show, but, and that sometimes maybe that happens when there's sort of like, there isn't like someone doesn't have the vision, I see it. Let me go off and do it. It's sort of like, I don't know what this is yet. Let's screw around with it and see if something bubbles up for you or me. And then if it does, talk it through and then go do it.
I just think we underestimate, like, because we are kind of very focused on like having the vision, having the finished product in mind. And we've talked about before, like just when you kind of play with the unknown, you're more likely to get work that sustains, that has a, has a more depth to it.
Yeah.
When you go past just what your mind can conceptualize in that moment, you're more likely to get something that's meaningful. And I think the same thing is true for collaboration. It's like there's an independent vision, but then when you do, kind of mind meld, you get all of these different perspectives and things involved. I think you can make something that kind of transcends what you could have come up with.
Yeah.
Or you just run into an idea that, that was right in front of me. I would have never seen that. Thanks for bringing that. So yeah, I think we've just kind of, we fixate on that independent vision a little bit. Just because of how culture is. Culture is a very individualistic
centered
kind
the
of
self.
thing. Yeah.
You know, sort of.
And especially today
Authorship.
with like, oh, my, you know, you're an entrepreneur, my small business, my life, my creation, my whatever, my product to the, my consumption habits, my, you know, I think there's just not as much like, I'm not necessarily saying it's like an arbitrage opportunity or something, but there's just, I think people miss out on how great that just an open collaboration can be.
Yeah.
Or kind of what value that could bring because they're so focused on the single, like my vision, carrying it out. Nobody else could possibly help me take this to a different place. And
Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting thing to think about.
I think especially as, you know, especially because so much of our, you know, what we do comes from, you know, what we consume and what we think about making comes from film.
Yeah.
I just think of like a painter, a sculptor.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
I just don't, you don't hear lots of stories of collaboration in them making the thing. You know, certainly, like I've mentioned before, you know, some of them have assistants. They have people that like help them with logistics of working with a large
even
canvas.
like photography, unless you're shooting models, like it's a pretty isolated art form.
Yeah. You know, I know Alex
Writing,
Soap, we were talking about him. He has an assistant who comes with him on his shoots. And I'm sure the role is everything from sort of some creative input or, you know, what do you think about this? Like, I don't know, like, you know, if they earn that sort of trust or whatever. But then it's also like, hey, we're going to stop in Jackson tonight. Can you like get the reservation there instead of.
And then, make sure the lights are.
And while the sort of creative collaboration aspect of that relationship might be minimal or very sporadic,
Yeah.
You know, there is collaboration happening.
Yeah, there's something to be said for just make sure we've got a hotel room.
Well, and sometimes it's just like your energy. Like I know that Nick probably had me on some shows where he didn't like need me creatively.
Yeah.
But maybe I do something. Just
There's
a
familiarity,
soothing presence,
like
you know, some therapy sessions, 100%. You know, whatever that just help with the flow state and sort of managing emotions and things like that. And there's a strong argument that that is a form of creative collaboration or collaboration versus like, we got to hire a production designer to figure out how this shit's going to look. And they do, and you shape it and, you know, you collaborate creatively, logistically, you know, all that stuff. But I do think about these art forms, you know, again, painting, sculptors, all that stuff. And for the most part, the big aspect of the project, the painting of the thing, the sculpting of the clay, is just done by the artist on their own.
For sure.
At least that's my understanding.
I think of these things though, like we watched a documentary on the moon landing a while ago. And I forget what it was. I don't know. It was like a year ago that we watched this, but I'm just sitting there and I'm like, how the fuck did they get people to the moon
in a ship that
Stanley Kubrick filmed it all on stage.
It's all staged.
But this was like before computers were useful.
Yeah.
Like they just kind of like the amount of just organization and brain power and I'm like that's incredible to me. It's impossible for me to even conceptualize how that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And yet somehow it happened. And so I look at that and I look at some of like my, you know, the films that I love. And I mean, I agree with you 100%. But even like great painters, like the Sistine Chapel, like, I mean, you know, fact check this. I don't know this to be 100% sure, like true, but I'm pretty sure there were like assistants Because I know that a lot of painters use assistants.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of, especially in that era of like, you know, we look at some of these pieces and it's, you know, the vision was cast and then the assistants would help execute, especially for these massive pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, the Sistine Chapel, absolutely. Like there's no way one person can do that.
Maybe he, you know, he piloted the brush, but somebody had to be like mixing paints and, you know, getting him something to eat, you know, all this kind of stuff. Well, and then here's another question. You know,
we should look that up. Actually, that's a stupid thing to. But I'm just I'm curious. I'm just like,
one thing you hear with a lot of artists, especially artists that are sort of singular creators, or seemingly, you know, you think a painter, a sculptor, and I mean a painter who's painting like a canvas, you know, Bob Ross style. You know, like he's not like, hey, give me whatever, you know, or what do you think about this? Should I do the happy tree here, or should just or not? You know, but what role does a muse play? As a collaborator, even if it's not in some official capacity. You know, you hear stories about artists that find their muse, and then it's like you can't go away. You know, like something is happening. You're a wellspring of inspiration, of new ideas, of maybe you help with my discipline. You know, the creative inspiration you give me keeps me sitting there painting instead of
moving,
fucking off, or being dramatic, or you know, whatever. But even like, you know, you think about a novelist. Obviously, they have collaborators, whether it's a friend, or a significant other who reads their work.
Novelists have
editors, 100%. And for those editors who, you know, in some instances have contribute significantly to the work. You know, you don't hear about them. Like, do you know any editor by name? You know, do you see, you know, they certainly have like a credit on the dust cover, but, you know, like, do people have interviews with them? Do they show up on podcasts? Are they on talk shows?
Yeah. And there's definitely well-known editors, but I think.
Well, well-known in sort of niche
circles.
Circles.
But I mean, that's a good point. Like they're kind of, I mean, it's like an editor on a film. Right. Who gets the credit? It's probably the director. Sometimes, you know, the writer, you don't really know who that is. If somebody did a second or third draft, sometimes they don't even get credited because they didn't make a significant enough contribution to the script. When in reality, it's like, oh, they actually changed 3 scene structures, or like the structure of 3 scenes around, or they, you know, wrote a new scene and it completely unlocked the entire piece that wasn't working. So it's like, you could say that they had 100% contribution to the piece because it didn't work and now it works. But I mean, it's something I've you know, you're talking about, kind of you being back in, you know, in it today. And I'm just like, man, I think that's something that maybe isn't undervalued, but it seems undervalued from my perspective.
What do you think are the sources of that feeling? Is it like, what are you seeing out there that just gives you that feeling?
I feel like people are just kind of thinking about like the lone genius theory is just the predominant narrative to creation in our society right now. And I'm like, it makes me uneasy. I'm like, because you're gonna, like, the quality of the outputs are gonna go down, I think. I mean, some people can do it without, you know, a lot of collaborators, and, you know, there's always going to be edge cases on everything. But I mean, you know, I just think of the moon landing or something. It's like, wow, look at what like a group of people can accomplish together.
Yeah. I think about that, you know, and I watch a lot of stuff just in the culinary world, whether it's everything from
oh my God, a restaurant
Iron
is a
Chef
wonderful
to a
example.
restaurant. Yeah.
Well, restaurant is
and what's fascinating about
example.
A lot of restaurant examples is, you know, I think about Yoshitomo here. You know, I know David, because he's talked about it on social media and a couple Q&As I've been to. You know, he's off on his own crafting dishes. You know, and again, similar to what Casey does. You sort of make the thing, and then you have your trusted collaborators who give you feedback, taste it, maybe advice, whatever it is.
You've got people making the setting possible for him to execute these things, like the kitchen. How well run is it? He's obviously not managing the like bit by bit operations of that.
But the core art form, the dish, he's making it on his own. Then you're sort of expanding it to the next circle of collaborators, getting their feedback, and then you execute it, and the entire staff, the kitchen staff, everybody helps out in the making of it. Yeah, and off you go.
Everybody's skill is involved in the eventual presentation of it.
Makes me wonder, and I don't want to start a different thread, but we can just put I don't think it's worth going down, but like I think about that whole stereotypical, well, you think about it, a lot of the collaborative arts, like we're trying to move away from this sort of dictatorial authoritarian auteur, and you see that as particularly like it's almost like it was just like an accepted thing in the world of the culinary arts that the chef is a total jerk, and they're yelling, the Gordon Ramsay approach to leading, and that idea that their authorship, their vision, their art is they need these other people to help do it. And what gets lost in handing off the creation of your work and your vision, even if it's the tiniest little bit of offness from what you think it should be, creates an abusive response. Yeah. That's just that aspect of collaboration, that like, this is just how it is. Yeah. And if you want to become a chef like I am, you need to take your licks and toughen up and all this kind of bullshit to get there. That just drives me nuts. Yeah.
I mean, at the same time though, I do think that like kind of singular authority figure is important.
Leadership,
in a collaboration. Like you have to have somebody who has a strong enough vision to cast it over a group. Because like if you just have a group and you're like, we're collaborating and nobody has a vision, you're gonna crash. And it is gonna be the worst thing. Like you would be better off with a single thing, because
and I mean, agree
you hear too many cooks in the kitchen is 100% the saying.
Absolutely. And I agree. You have to have somebody that's holding the vision and is the ultimate decision maker.
And I agree that you don't have to be
have to be an authoritarian asshole.
Yeah.
If you ever watch Band of Brothers, which if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend, they lay that out perfectly. David Schwimmer plays the regiment commander. Yeah. And he's just yelling and punishing them all the time, all this stuff. They're like, if this guy took a bullet in the battlefield, good riddance.
Yeah, we wouldn't be upset about it.
And then when Dick Winters takes over, a completely different leadership style. I mean, these guys, every single one of them would have taken a bullet for this guy because he got dirty. Just a totally different approach. And I always think back on that movie when it comes to, if you're sort of the point person with a family outing or on set or whatever, like it perfectly delineated, a person in a position of leadership and how to inspire the people that are there to help accomplish a common goal. Yeah. And it's just the best. Yeah. That show is so good. Have you ever seen Band of Brothers?
I've never seen it. No. So what is so it's a TV
World War
show?
II. It really
what was the network?
That's on HBO.
HBO. Okay, that sounds like an HBO show.
And it was
I've never tuned in.
Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg were involved. It sort of feels like it's in the world
like
of Saving
EPs.
Private Ryan. Yeah, EPs.
Yeah, gotcha.
And has a similar vibe and feel to Saving Private Ryan, but really sort of, I think, paved the way for like the golden era of cable drama,
Yeah.
like Mad Men, Damages, Breaking Bad,
Breaking Bad,
all
yeah.
that, like look to this as something that helps set the bar for
Yeah.
what a television series, even though it was
Yeah.
limited, I think it's 10 episodes or whatever, but it is phenomenal.
The idea of television is so fascinating. Like
Yeah.
you have a season to get,
Yeah.
it just seems, I was thinking about some of these network shows and just how tight the crews are.
Yeah.
And you'll have the same crew for 20 years. and
Absolutely.
They're just like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
dialed in.
we're in season. We got to rip out an episode a week pretty much. And you know, you're 3 weeks to air.
Yeah.
And you're running like a slight delay on, I mean, it's crazy.
Yep.
Some of the, yeah. But yeah, I mean, just to tie a bow on it, I just think it's something that is a little undervalued, like collaboration in kind of our, and maybe that's just my clothing. Like maybe everybody's like, oh, I fucking love collaborating.
Right.
But it just seems like something that I think deserves more public affection.
Sure. Yeah.
From like the lower level lower level, like, you know, you're talking about Oscar Isaac or like these Hollywood,
Right.
Like collaboration is a necessity there.
Absolutely.
It's always been music, you know, taking a band on tour, even just like a singles act, you know, you've got players with you, you've got producers, and, you know, I mean, there's a lot that goes into even just recording a singular artist project. And I mean, we just kind of took this idea of like, oh, we're liberating the group because now we can do all that. You can record an album in your bedroom and mix it yourself and play all the instruments. And while I think that's super cool, I'm like, we are kind of losing something by over indexing on that you can do it all yourself. It's like just because you can do it all yourself doesn't mean you should be doing it yourself. I think creativity is just one of the great social, you know, experiences that we have. I mean, there's nothing better than just like throwing ideas back. That's what we do all the time.
Absolutely.
We'll just toss ideas back and forth. And sometimes we'll get super fired up about something and we'll plan like a whole thing around it. And then, you know, we don't do anything with it, but it's like you leave and you're just like floating.
That's right.
You're like, who cares? We didn't do anything with it. We just did something.
Do you think that any part of you maybe doesn't gravitate toward making videos on YouTube because it's so singular?
Singular? Maybe.
Not that that's the sole reason,
I mean,
but an ingredient in that.
Definitely as I've gotten older, I'm like, because I think I would have been more on that, like, I just want to do it all myself at one point.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, fuck that. Like, I want to work with the best people. I want to like work with people who can do things that I can't do. I want new ideas. I want to, you know, cast a vision and then see what their take on that is. And so like, just the way I talk to people when I'm doing creative collaboration has changed to where it's like, okay, I need to make sure I'm presenting this idea or this set of ideas or this like kind of end goal that we have without boxing it in. I need to make sure that I'm presenting it in a way that leaves it wide open.
Yeah.
And like, I need to make sure that like I'm providing what needs to be provided to get us moving without locking it down to like, hey, we're gonna, it's gonna look like this or feel like this.
Right. I just need you to make it.
Yeah.
I don't want your input. Just paint it green.
Yeah, just do it. And sometimes you get to that point and you're like, this, like, no, this isn't right. This needs to be like this.
Right.
And, you know, I have problems with that. Sometimes I'll do stuff like that. And I'm like, where do I know? But then that's kind of where it comes down to just like trust your instinct. But I mean, that's rare. Like where you're like, because most of the time, especially when you're having the dialogue in a right way, it's like, something doesn't feel right here. Do you feel that? It's like, yeah, I feel it too.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, let's take a few beats and figure out what's not working.
Yep.
And then usually if you're really approaching it from an authentic place, you're not coming from the side of I'm right, you're wrong, or I have the solution. Usually, and not even from like the psychological manipulation of like, well, I'm going to act like it's their idea.
Yeah.
Usually it's literally just stare at it. What's wrong here?
Yep.
And then it's like, I think it's this. And then it's like, yeah, it's that. And you kind of just both like will reach a conclusion about a thing. I'm sure you've had that experience with editing.
Sure.
Like, I mean, we've worked on projects together editing wise where it's like, you know, it's like, let's try to move this here, do this. And then it opens up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just, I think it's been valuable for me, and I'm like singing the praises. I mean, I think that in the original question, do you gravitate away from some of these things because of how individual they are? I think maybe.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's just not as fulfilling.
Well, and do you think just overall this is something that you're feeling, observing, clocking because you know, granted you collaborate at work, but you're still essentially alone. I know you have these mandatory in-office days or something like that, but you and I haven't gone out for doing our own thing, but together in a long time. You know, does any aspect of kind of being on your own in all aspects of your creation, work, you know, your actual job and your personal work, kind of magnify that feeling a little bit? And I don't mean that it's making a feeling
at work. I feel like I'm I mean, that's constant collaboration,
of course,
like it's every day.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I'm definitely like getting that from that side of things.
And even remotely you feel like you get it's satisfying. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think I don't know what's magnifying it. And maybe it is just like some of the stuff I've watched recently. I'm like, I don't know. It's just like, man, I feel like we should talk more about this, not the like, I just want to do it myself. There's something to be said for that, but I just want, you know, people to see that, oh, that might be like the sexy creator does it all by themselves thing. And it's, I just, you know, I want people to experiment with both and see which one works.
I know I talked about like AI and being able to
take
one of my
scripts.
Kind of could be, taking one of my scripts and crafting a full feature out of it, however that happens. But, you know, part of me sort of like without having said it goes, well, of course I'm going to let people sort of like watch a scene or watch an act or watch a cut of it, and I want their feedback. Yeah. You know, I think too, and this is a thread that we can touch on just a little bit. You know, there's
I didn't even make that connection, by the way.
Yeah.
So maybe that was just sitting in my head.
Yeah. And I sit there and go, again, idea or vision, I want to go off and make it all on my own. And then I want to bring in a collaborator just as like, you know, and this happened with all my screenplays. I didn't like, hey, Micah, I'm trying to work on this scene. And like, I don't know what the guy's supposed to do. You know, it was like, let me just write the whole thing. Yeah. I'm not going to write it to where I think this is done. It's great. I could shoot this tomorrow. This is the best I've got after 6 revisions. And I need your eyes on it to either test whether or not, you know, like I need you to check for untruthful moments,
see what's working, what's
dips
not.
in energy, you know, all this sort of stuff. But
where am I bringing my own context to it? Yeah.
But the big thing too is, you know, possible some people gravitate towards working on their own because not because they've gone they've summited collaboration mountain and realized it's not for them. I'm sure there's some people that don't have a lot of experience with healthy collaboration. Yeah. And the example I'll give is the things.
You have a good example too.
Yeah. The things I struggled with in screenwriting or, you know, showing somebody a video or whatever was they would give feedback based on what they would do with it, or versus sort of seeing what I'm going for and making it more or better my thing, like the thing I'm trying to do. Or they would get caught up in like rules, like, like they're giving feedback. Well, you're not supposed to have that happen before page 12. Like I don't, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
I need to know whether or not this feels honest, pure, truthful, whatever the word is. I also need to know, like, where do you get bored? Where does it feel like the energy dips? Where's something confusing? Where are you disoriented? Logistical stuff.
Yeah.
But then I also want you to kind of just understand what I'm going for and help me bring it closer to that.
Help me bring it out. Yeah.
Or, open up and what if you did this? Like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that is in alignment with what I'm trying to do, and I hadn't thought of it that way. You know what I mean?
Do you think that's like a byproduct of us going more down the route of individual thinking, and like, because part of learning how to be a good collaborator is probably doing it more, and so I think you do run into some people. I mean, I think there should be a distinction between ego and bad collaboration. Some people are just egotistical.
Sure.
Their way is the right way.
Yep.
They're arrogant. They think
binary. Yep.
Yeah. And
or like the person provides the better idea, but because it wasn't yours, it's better, but you throw it out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's always going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a byproduct of like bad collaboration. Yeah. That's just a byproduct of like shitty people.
Yep.
Or just maybe not even shitty people, but just like people who aren't good at that. But I do think there's probably some people that just don't know how, like the only feedback that they've ever been given is from like a teacher or something. Yeah. Where it's like, and maybe it's a teacher who wasn't great at, I mean, the one of the greatest blessings anybody could get is a teacher who is good at giving feedback.
Absolutely.
Like, I think back to some of my teachers, especially in like English, and just some of the feedback that I got on, papers or stories or whatever. And like literally probably changed the course of my life and like and that's so powerful.
Absolutely.
And I can think of like a couple of, really strong examples. And like, that is how you collaborate, especially like part of the collaborative process is again, recognizing, okay, this isn't like a perfect thing.
Yeah.
Like this is a work in progress. This is a draft. And also it's not mine.
Right.
So like,
that's right.
I need to work on this level.
Yeah. I don't need to make this about me and appropriate your work.
Yeah.
Or sort of like put my stamp on it so that when it does get made, I can go, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my idea.
That's mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think it is a byproduct of like, excuse me, of like we're doing less collaboration as a culture, and so people therefore are kind of less attuned to elegant feedback? Or
well, I think just in general, a lot of what we have in our world creates more isolation. And I don't mean like total isolation, but we tend to sort of be in our own bubbles. We're in the magic rectangle, like looking at our social media, our this, our that, that's why I asked about sort of working remotely. There's sort of a physical isolation that while for some, they might just honestly be like, look, it wouldn't matter if this person was in the room or not. Like, I think the outcome wouldn't really differ at all. But for some, maybe it does, and they're just not aware of it.
And I like, just to be clear, I think like I get a lot of collab, but even still, like if we're working on a big project at work or something, we'll typically try to go in person for bits and pieces of the process, just because creativity is kind of, it thrives in physical proximity.
Yep. But then just, the tools that we have at our disposal, whether it's music software or AI or whatever, like,
or publishing software.
Yeah. I mean, you can go make things on your own. You don't need to get a band together. Like, you can just like get a drum beat. You don't know how to play the drums, but you're a good vocalist or you're a guitarist or whatever, and you can just sort of plug that stuff in or use AI to, create it, or you lay down your guitar track, your vocals, and AI just, maybe what the time signature is or, whatever. I think about my brother making his piece, but, again, he showed it to me at numerous stages and was comfortable with me going, this beat doesn't work for me. Like there's something, like my brain wants you to cut to this angle. Like I'm confused because, whatever. Now, if you want some sense of disorientation for the vibe, like I can see that.
Yeah.
But I'll just tell you, my gut instinct is this feels off to me.
Yeah.
Such a random example, but there's like a scene in Ang Lee's Hulk movie where what's the call? Like, I always forget this. He like jump the line or whatever, the 180 rule.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever. Like we used to pounce on that shit in film school because we learned that it was a thing.
I hate. That's how that's how you can find the green person on set is if they're like,
well, you jump in the 180, you're jumping the line.
Yeah. Well, oh my God, dude. Like, it's funny too because sometimes it'll be. This is for work, like in my experience. Like we'll be in a production meeting about something, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, that's the 180 rule," and it's
the 180.
It's like
rule.
how this is somebody who's literally like, "Oh, I've been doing this forever," and it's like I've been doing, and it's like, just really bring up the fucking 180 rule, like, like you're trying to like slide that in there as, I don't know, dude. Yeah, that gets me every time. I'm like.
I know.
Jesus.
And in that scene, he breaks the 180. He jumps the line on purpose to evoke a feeling and all that. And obviously, you have to learn the rules to be able to break them and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think, the
180 rule.
Yeah. The 180 guideline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, directors have been that's a very well known is you'll jump the line or you'll break the line. Mm-hmm. The climax of a beat or a dramatic sequence, you jump the line. It's like things have changed visually. Now that shit is just echoed though in every YouTube video. Just jump the line.
Yeah,
everybody does. Yeah, I don't know.
But just to wrap up the point, I do think that there just is sort of like a larger sense of isolation and I don't want to say self-centered because that's more psychological. I mean sort of like self-focused or sort of I cannot think of what the best word is. It's not self-absorbed.
Like feedback?
It's sort of just like alone, maybe.
Yeah.
Alone together.
Yeah.
To be corny. Just our existence, I gravitate to these photos of people in sort of public or private places like a museum or whatever, and like they're with their kids or their family or their friends or whatever, and like everyone's on their phone. And this is not me deriding phones. It's sort of just like you go out with a bunch of people to, be together, to talk, to whatever, we got to check our phones. You got to see if our wife texted us, you got to whatever. But it's like, I'm like observing people together for sustained periods of time being in this sort of isolation.
Yeah.
And whether it's their anxiety they're trying to assuage, or it's got to check, what my subscriber count is, or or
like a neurotic tendency,
or just it's sort of like even at a concert, everybody filming the concert by themselves. It's sort of like my personal needs is of paramount importance, and I'm going to ignore this communal experience or this collaborative experience or this togetherness.
Well,
we
were like in office today for a bit, and everybody's just on their computer in the same room together. And I just got up and left. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. This is dystopian. I actually, like, everybody's...
I know.
I was like, this is creeping me the fuck. Like, I gotta leave.
When it's under the umbrella of mandatory in office day. For what?
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is what it's for?
Yeah.
Everybody
And-
just like leadership just feels better that we're all on our computers in the same room.
It was like we do have like I just got up and left and went and we did other things. Like we have the freedom to kind of go and operate and do work on whatever you need to work on. But yeah, there is like this. It starts out where it's just everybody's just and it was creepy. I had a feeling of like this is dystopian.
Well, when you're in an office setting like
terrifying.
that, you have the bird's eye view of the cubicles. It's just odd. Like we're all working toward the same thing, make the company this or do this outcome, this mission, and we're just whatever. And that's, I think, why I take these photos. And these aren't photos I share publicly. I'm not like making an Instagram story like this guy's ignoring his kid because he's checking his Facebook. But it's more of a just something that fascinates me that you're sort of in your cubicle in the world,
out in the
world. Like in a park or at an art museum, and you're just like, and don't get me wrong, someone could photograph me and catch me in a moment where for 7 minutes I'm on my phone when I'm out with people or whatever. I'm not like Mr. My phone never comes out of my pocket when I'm out in the world, but
no, it is just weird.
I don't check it at the movies. I don't.
There's something about it where it's somehow the most isolating behavior that somebody could do is just being in their own digital space, right? Like, when people talk about, everybody's walking around with like goggles that they can see that like, that's so dystopian.
Yeah.
There is something about the idea of like, you're in a different world in the world.
Yes.
That is just not, and what's different about like that and reading a book, because technically you're in a different world, but it's in your head. So this is just making that more visible. Well,
and here's another perfect example of that sort of self-centeredness or self-focus. We sit down every night in the fall and watch Roseanne. Like, our little marker is, what do we do? Is it October 1st or I forget what our marker was.
Are you guys running it right now?
Yeah. So every fall, and the kids are old enough now that they can follow along, and we start with season 1 and just go through it as far as we can, into probably Christmas time. We kind of trail off after season 5 because we don't love it as much after season 5.
Yeah.
But if I had my choice personally, like if I was on my own and wanted to watch something, I would not watch this.
Yeah.
But I recognize that we want to have this shared experience.
Yeah.
I certainly enjoy it.
It's going to mean something for the kids for the rest of their life.
But because it's not my ultimate preference, if I was on my own, I feel the pull to check my phone for things that are important to me and sort of how I am perceived in the world. Did I get any comments on a YouTube video? Did anybody buy my shit on Depop? Is there any emails about a sponsorship thing? It's very,
you're just checking that number, that line, that progress,
right?
Like,
and it's okay. Well, I'm running a business here. I got to check this. You know what I mean? All this dumb like rationalization, but it's like, I am like seeking validation from what that, you know what I mean? Like it's all this sort of
100%.
self-focused stuff that you're drawn to,
and you're giving yourself an
moments.
excuse because you're like, well, this benefits the whole family. Like, this is good for all of us.
Right.
Like, I'm not.
And so then it makes you sort of, because watching something together and like engaging with the content and having your energy shared with the other people in the room, whether it's laughing at the same time or like, I forgot that, or making a comment, I love this part, whatever.
Yeah.
When you're half your brain, a quarter of your brain, 3/4 is like looking at the dark rectangle on the armrest, you're not there.
Well, it's so interesting. Like I'm really one thing that I we love our apartment.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I love your apartment.
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, but eventually I want to, when we do get a house, like I'm excited to have a room for just like watching.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies in there, and we've got the projector, and sometimes we'll run that, but it's just too accessible to everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, even like you talked about looking at the dark rectangle in the corner, you might not even be engaging with it. It's just there, and it's just taking up mind share.
That's right.
And
I can hear the siren song.
I'm a big believer in just separate, like, I want a room where it is just a projector and some chairs, and like put it in a Faraday cage, like, you know, block the Wi-Fi. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, it's like when I'm down here, I'm watching whatever I'm watching.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, you hear this with writers all the time. It's like they'll rent a space, and it's just a room with a table, and it's like, well, when I'm in here, you know, the phone's in the car, and I'm just writing.
Yep.
Like, I can have coffee and my computer or whatever. Like,
well, that's the part of the
typewriter.
Part of the pull, you know, toward the typewriter, or you know, my iBook G4 and writing on that. You know, yeah, sure, my phone's in my pocket or it's over on the desk. And that's the other thing too, is, you know, again, the creative act is very it's about what you're making.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel the pull. I'm annoyed by the phone.
Yeah.
But when I'm in a communal activity in certain situations,
it can break you out of that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like, it's.
Have you ever been on a set where they no phones? This is something I heard about. I didn't know this was really a thing.
I mean, I know like they talk about that with Nolan and all that, you know,
for like capture reasons, I think, right? That's more of like, don't.
I thought,
or is it?
I might be misremembering, but I thought the whole Nolan thing, it wasn't about him just not having a cell phone, but it was like no phones on set, just because I don't even mean like, you know, the concern is that people are on them, because that certainly is a thing. And obviously, you know, secrecy is another thing, but just if your phone's around, you're gonna hear it calling you.
Well, so I didn't know it was a Nolan thing.
Yeah.
Which would make sense. And then I'm sure other people, I mean, he's pretty influential, and I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah.
And I've heard this happening more and more in productions, and I'm like, I kind of love that. Like, that's kind of I think. And you certainly might have people that are like, oh, like I'm an adult. Like,
if there's an emergency,
it's like, okay, then bye. Yeah. Like, we'll replace you.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. Because I kind of love it. Because I think you're absolutely right. If it's even in the vicinity,
if it's possible,
it's taking mind share. And so put that thing in a plastic bag, put that thing in a bin.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, I need my phone in my pocket. It's like, put it in the car. Yeah. Like, you know, take a cigarette break.
Yeah.
Go check it if you need to for a second out there. And then when you come back in here, you leave it. I don't know why that came to mind, but you were talking about it. Yeah. I was just like, I didn't know that was a thing until probably a week or two ago. And I was like, wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's like crazy that's the spot we're at. We've gone so far.
Honestly, it makes me wish, like, I had this idea. I was like, you know, it'd be cool if there was a phone where, like, and for people listening, I'm holding my phone to sort of quasi demonstrate this, but I'm like, I wish there was a way to have a phone and like there's an eject button and a little phone comes out, that all it is,
like a mini phone.
It's a mini phone. Yeah. All it is all it can do is make and receive calls.
Yeah.
And for me,
that way, you know,
that way, if Aaron needs to call me, I have that connection.
Yeah.
You know, you could argue that the watch is that when you have cellular activated,
but you can get notifications on that thing.
You can get notifications. I can't, like, obviously post to Instagram or check my Facebook feed or whatever, but you know, you could text or call basically.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't know, like get fitness metrics or activity, you know, whatever.
But like if like instead of having the massive camera, if it was just like, you know, the new camera's like that big, right?
Yeah.
On the new 14 or whatever.
Right.
So what if that, instead of being a camera, was just like, you just pull it off. Yeah, that's interesting.
And even if it's a little screen, you know,
Yeah.
it's I can enter a number, I don't know, hold it to my ear, whatever I need to do to like
I mean,
to
even if
deal
you're
with
doing
it.
like this.
There's part of me that's like, man, there would be I really honestly think there would be a lot of situations where I would purposely choose to take the little phone
Yeah.
and just leave the smartphone at home.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm like, I feel like I have to either, you know, the other option is like I just go get some flip phone with a different number and
Yeah.
8 people have that number.
Anybody that you know, like,
Right.
yeah, you know, wife,
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. And I just take that one. That's a reasonable
People
thing.
do that too.
And I
A
would
lot
have
of
to
people
pay
do
for
that,
the
yeah.
separate line. You know, I want it to not cost anything extra. I just want
Yeah.
it to be a little thing. Or if it's like a little like a little iPod Nano looking thing, you know,
Yeah.
and it has the same.
I guess technically you could take like your SIM card out and swap them.
Yeah.
But that is a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, I gotta take the case off. I gotta.
It is funny they kind of do have the technology with the Nano.
Yeah,
Like you just put a Nano on the back of the
something.
iPhone.
You know,
Yeah.
like that would be really. I would really love that.
Or sell it separately,
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, you can sync your Nano to your iCloud and like it'll split SIM. There would be security concerns there, but yeah, something.
But something that lets you have.
Like maybe it has to touch and you have to give it access every time. So
Yeah.
it's like you just touch it and you're like, make this my phone, and then I'm sure
Yep.
there's something software wise that Apple could figure out.
But I would like. You know, I don't know if they could resist letting it have texting. Like, I don't want it to have anything but phone calls.
Yeah.
I don't want it to play music. I don't want any capabilities at all other than
If it had
make
phone calls and
receive
texting,
phone
I think
calls.
a lot of people would just only use that for 90% of the time.
The problem is I feel like with texting, it would start to defeat the purpose.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think texting really.
No.
Personally, I mean, I
know,
don't
there's
text a
some-
lot. I don't text a lot.
I feel like if I could, I'd think about it. Like, oh, I should text whatever. And I know that phone can text.
I mean, it can, and the voice to
Yeah.
text on this thing is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's ever been like, I'm never like, oh man, I want to text.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's just me though. Like I've never been.
But don't you ever feel like being able to receive kind of like unimportant texts is a thing?
Well, also though, but you kind of reprogram everybody in your life over time.
Yeah.
To where you just don't get a lot of unimportant text. And I know that's I'm not talking about like, but like, I mean, legitimately, I think most people in my life, if they're going to send me a meme or like a link or something, they send it to my iCloud.
Right. And that's at home.
So like,
Or-
and it's like, if you need to contact me, you'll call me. And like, even you do this. And I don't even think it's conscious. I think it's just over time. That's just, you're like, oh, this is kind of like, if you're sending me a link or we're just like bullshitting,
Right.
so it'll go to the iCloud and it's like, it's there for me when I get home,
Yep.
or group text or whatever. And it's like, if you need something, or if we're meeting up in public or something,
Yes.
then you just kind of know to go
Yep.
text the number or call.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, and I feel like most people in my life are kind of like that at this point.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, yeah, I get it. I can't sit here and be like, this is the solution, because it's just, it's difficult. It's way more difficult for a lot of people. At this point though, it's like easier for me because I've had this thing for like 2 years
Right.
now. So
Yeah. And I personally,
best decision I've ever made in my life, by the way. Like,
and I personally don't, I mean, probably the YouTube aspect maybe is probably the bigger sort of, and I mean YouTube, not like to check metrics, although that might be something that draws me to the phone, but it's a little bit more like, oh, I have an audience, so I have to like connect with them when I haven't.
I would
published a
love
video.
to see you try a flip phone for like a month.
Oh yeah.
Like
I
just
mean,
as
I
like
thought-
a personal experiment.
Well,
like,
I have thought numerous times about seeing how much it would cost to just have a separate number, flip phone, and I can just look at my contacts and be like, all right, my mom needs to have the number, Alex does, Aaron does, you know, like
give it to the
five
kids. Have
people.
it.
Yeah, 5 people have that number.
Yeah.
My sister, my brother, maybe.
Yeah.
And then when I would just want to go out and do something, go to a movie with you, I don't need to have my shit. Like I don't need to.
And you can put your contacts in there. So if you need to reach out to somebody,
all of it.
Hey, this is Matt.
I could tell them, add this number to my contact card so that if I call you, it's me. It's not some random thing.
Yeah.
To just see what it's like to have experiences out in the world where you're just more wholly present, whether it's a photography excursion or even like thrifting or going to a movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, like everybody's going to survive if I don't post, if I don't put it up an Instagram story.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be all right.
I have this, it'll never happen because it might, but I don't think it will. But at this point it's, you talked a couple of weeks ago about the AI, just single purpose computer.
Yeah.
Where it's just a chat interface. And I'm like, it would absolutely, somebody could do this right now. And you could just have a number. Like, remember Cha-Cha or those like ask like movie phone, things like services like that where you call and when is this movie?
Yeah.
Or da-da-da-da. Or Cha-Cha texted a question and
gets
back to you. You could just do that with AI. And you get your own personal assistant that's linked to your chat account, and you can call it, and it brings up the voice interface. Hey, I've got a question. What is, I'm looking for a place to eat. Here. What is, and then you have a flip phone, and maybe you have GPS, weather, and whatever, and it's usually a very rudimentary flip phone.
Yep.
And then, you have literally the world of information at your fingertips. Hey, I just want to bounce an idea off you, even. Like, even as bizarre as that. I'm like, that's super possible.
That's interesting.
And, it's more difficult in execution because of some of the technical, because I literally looked at it, I was like, can I just do this? Can I just like make my own little, like link it to ChatGPT or something? And, but you text it and it like texts the model and then it gets back to you with whatever the answer is. Like that could work. I don't know. I'm like that seems like the perfect integration of technology and not technology.
Right.
Like,
technology and detachment from technology.
and that's kind of that device you were talking about. Like, we already have like this thing that can communicate, and like obviously this is not the best form factor. Like there are some like beautiful, like the punked phone is beautiful. So like get that, make the text experience better.
Yep.
And and then have it where you can call AI. Or whatever. And I think that's the best version of the thing. It's like you don't have all this extra shit that is just gonna be a parasite to your functionality and attention, and you have access to any information you could ever need. So
these are interesting ideas for having more power to choose. Like Apple would be like, well, there's focus modes. You can program a bunch of focus modes to this or that or whatever. And I'm like, it's just not enough. Like it's like
this is the problem. Like you're not like that's
even though
that's like my house
mode,
is on fire, so I put on a fireproof suit. It's like
I just want.
It's like you're not going to get burned if you put this on. It's like but my house is on fire.
Right.
Like
I just want more. I don't know, more choice in how I carry technology with me at a given time. And even with like the little slide out phone, like I want this in the truck with me because maybe I do want to stream music or I want the turn by turn. But when I get out, I can pop out the little thing that literally can only, your AI thing, is interesting. At least for me right now, I'm like, make and receive calls. That's it. No texting, just calls. And maybe there's options. Maybe like there's versions of it where it's like the little dumb phone that slides out. It only texts and calls. There's an option where it can text. There's an option where it can do an AI thing, whatever. But I get to leave my truck and be sort of free of any possibility of doing anything but making or receiving phone calls.
I like how Apple keeps making like some new stupid version of the iPhone.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, there's 4 versions or there's 3 versions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd be interested if they just stopped with like the bullshit new model with the Kevin Hart commercials, and if they just made a fucking dumb phone.
Yeah.
And then their flagship model.
Yeah.
Like, okay, get your bullshit out of the way, and then like make a dumb phone. Try to do something that's a little different.
Yep.
Like, we know there's a market for it. Nokia is a thriving company in 2025 because of it.
The problem is that the integration, of hardware and services for Apple is so strong that piece of technology that they would, you would buy and pay for, it's disconnected from iCloud. It's just,
yeah, but make the original iPhone. Just make an iPhone without the App Store. And they're like, why would you ever do that?
Right.
Like, I understand that, but it's like, but why not?
Yeah.
Or like make maybe there's a version of iOS that you can choose to have that doesn't have the App Store. And it is literally just the iPhone.
And then they just see I'm not saying I agree with
I
you,
get
but
it.
they see their revenue plummet because there's enough people that would choose that.
Yeah.
I was just talking about the original.
But it's again, it goes back to that, like the innovator's dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, then ignore that. And somebody else they're just going to like, it's a trend, and it's, there's there's a lot of people that are buying dumb phones that are going to be back in a smartphone in 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people also buying dumb phones that will never buy another smartphone for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And so why not have that segment of customer
Right.
as well? And it's only going to get more like you ask. I think if you asked 100 people, 55 of them, 60 of them would probably be like, I fucking hate my phone. I hate social media. I hate my phone. I hate my daily experience with all of this bullshit.
Yeah.
And I just can't get out. Like, they're trapped anyways. It's Stockholm syndrome.
Yep.
But, you know.
Just habit.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
no, I'm with you.
I like how we just circle back to this kind of dumb technology conversation every time, but
it relates to the collaboration thing, because I think, when you don't have the temptress with you when you're with people, you're going to have, it's a little bit of a stretch, but a sort of collaborative communal experience, more likely than not.
It's I don't know if I think I've talked about this on the show before, but we were at a bar in Key West last year, I guess. And we're in this bar and everybody's kind of on their phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this place is insane. I think it was the Green Parrot. I mean, like, you've had like legends have played. There's like a Bob Dylan signed guitar on the wall. Like, I mean, it's crazy. It's the whole thing is just nostalgia all around it. Excuse me. And we're in there, and everybody's on their phone. There's like a couple people at the bar on their phone, and I'm just thinking, like, I'll watch a movie from the 50s, and sure, it's like maybe dramatically heightened a little bit.
Sure.
But these people are at bars, and they're like singing and getting into like, I mean, maybe getting into physical brawls and things like that is not the best thing. But there's just an energy because they're relying on that collaboration with the others to get something out of the experience.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can just rely on this to get something out of the experience.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is like, it's not fun to just sit somewhere.
Yeah.
So eventually you're going to be bored enough to be like, what's your story, guy? Or
Absolutely.
Like, what's your story? Like, or, okay, this band is, I'm going to get up and dance, or I'm going to go talk to the bartender, or I'm going to go play pinball, or
or to
you just open yourself to possibilities.
Absolutely. Or for a movement to happen because you go see a band, and because you're there and present, everybody is, you're exchanging the energy, you're feeling the vibes, you're getting caught up in it. And then that experience makes you then tell other people about it. Then they go see the show.
You gotta
have
come
that
with me next time, or you gotta go see this.
And things spread, or an art exhibit, a photo gallery, whatever it is.
Yeah. Isn't it ironic too that this was supposed to be like the liberator of like it was supposed to make movements more possible?
Right. Well, yeah.
Like now we're all connected. Like now we can do all of these things. There's nothing stopping us.
Well, and I think
honestly probably done the opposite.
Well, I think it's evolved that way. I think there was probably some hope with some social media or the connectivity that our phone provides that it would, foster, a deeper connection. There's arguments that when there's unrest, people communicate over Twitter. When governments suppress populations or control this or that, there's certainly, things like that going on. But when social media and all that just turned into, colonizing attention. It was like, well, we just need to sell ads. We need eyeballs on this. We need to keep people glued to the screen. So, we've got to become the National Enquirer and just have bullshit on here nonstop so people can't look away. It's got to be 24/7 car accident, train wreck, drama, whatever. And so it just becomes like this little addiction thing, little dopamine hit, little whatever it does, because it's not about that utopian interconnection, collaboration, communal togetherness, thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just about,
it gets corrupted or co-opted or whatever. And this is, we've talked about this, your YouTube channel, you set out, you make it, you're all mission-based and conviction, and money comes in, and some people move toward, I'm just a internet salesman, and I'm going to attract and extract. Let's go. Let's rip. Let's get those views. Let's get these metrics up. Let's do all this stuff. And it's essentially the same thing, right? Well, what content do I have to create to attract advertisers? What did the Village Voice have to do to not lose their advertisers? And then eventually they get shuttered. It's just like the cycle of things, it seems, in technology or media or whatever. Maybe are we better off just accepting that, or hoping that something's gonna break the mold and not succumb to this cycle. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I feel like people have to, act.
Vote with their dollar, like we
100%.
said.
Yeah. That's the term that comes to mind. But because nothing's going to change. Like people are like, oh, I hate this. There's so many people that will just, I hate this thing. Mm-hmm. This is the worst thing ever. And they do it every day.
Yeah.
And I get that mentality. Like I get the sometimes there's external forces that drive that behavior or whatever, but like at a certain point you just like if you're doing it every day, there's zero incentive for things to change. And complaining about something will not change it. Like that's not how a market works.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the sunrise.